Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys fans, today we're diving deep into a story that's sending shockwaves through the Dallas fan base and across the NFL landscape. I'm talking about a significant and impactful development that might just change the course of this season for the Cowboys. It's a story about injury, resilience, and a test of depth that could define how far this team can go. So buckle up because we're about to explore everything, from the latest news to the implications for the team to what this means for the playoffs and beyond. Let's start with the big headline. The Dallas Cowboys, a team renowned for their formidable defense, especially their secondary, have just lost one of their key pieces for their upcoming game against the Minnesota Vikings. The player in question is none other than Trevon Diggs, the cornerback who has become a cornerstone of Dallas's defensive unit. Officially, Diggs has been placed on the injured reserve list, which means he will be sidelined for at least the next few games, and that the team must adapt quickly to fill the void left by his absence. This news isn't just a minor setback. It's a significant blow, one that raises many questions about how the Cowboys will respond. Trevon Diggs was not just a starter. He's been one of the most impactful players in their defense, a player capable of turning the tide of a game with his playmaking ability. His knack for intercepting passes and shutting down top receivers has made him a nightmare for quarterbacks and a leader in the secondary. The loss of Diggs, therefore, creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond just missing a player on the field. It challenges the entire defensive scheme, forcing the coaching staff to rethink their strategies and adjust their personnel. Now, let's analyze the significance of Diggs' role within this Cowboys defense. Since joining the team, he has rapidly established himself as one of the league's premier cornerbacks. His ability to read routes, his speed, and his ball skills make him a constant threat to opposing offenses. In the current season, Diggs has already accumulated multiple interceptions, including some game-changing picks that have shifted momentum in Dallas's favor. His presence on the field provides a psychological edge, often forcing quarterbacks to think twice before throwing in his direction. Losing Diggs at this stage of the season comes at a particularly crucial moment. We're in the thick of the NFL's playoff push, with every game carrying immense weight. The Cowboys, coming off a season where they've shown flashes of brilliance but also moments of inconsistency, now face an even greater challenge. How will they compensate for this loss? Who will step up? And can the team maintain their defensive integrity without their top corner? These are questions that fans and analysts alike are pondering. The coaching staff, led by head coach Mike McCarthy and defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, will have to make strategic adjustments. They might consider shifting players in the secondary, perhaps giving more responsibilities to the other cornerbacks, or even bringing in some of the younger, less experienced players to see who can rise to the occasion. Players like Kelvin Joseph or Nahshon Wright might see increased playing time, but the question remains. Are they ready for such a pivotal role? It's worth noting that this isn't the first time the Cowboys have faced adversity in their secondary. Historically, the team has shown resilience, often overcoming injuries through strategic adjustments and the depth of their roster. However, Diggs' role as a primary playmaker makes his absence particularly impactful. The secondary will need to tighten up, communicate better, and perhaps rely more heavily on their safeties, like Donovan Wilson or Jaron Kearse, to help cover the gaps. From an analytical perspective, the loss of Diggs could influence the Cowboys' overall defensive rankings. Dallas's defense has been one of the more stingy units this season, particularly against the pass, where they rank among the top teams in the league. Their ability to generate turnovers and limit big plays has been a key factor in their success. Now, without Diggs, opponents might try to exploit the secondary more, especially on third downs and in critical situations. It raises the stakes for the entire defensive unit, which must step up collectively. Statistically speaking, Diggs' absence might lead to a temporary dip in the team's pass defense efficiency. His interception rate, combined with his coverage stats, like targets allowed, completion percentage against him, and yards per target, are all instrumental in maintaining the Cowboys' defensive dominance. Coaches will have to find ways to mitigate this impact, perhaps by applying more pressure on opposing quarterbacks or by adjusting coverage schemes to compensate for the lack of Diggs' playmaking. Let's also reflect on the broader context of the Cowboys season. Coming into this year, expectations were high. The team had retooled their roster, added key pieces, and looked like a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Their defense, especially their secondary, was viewed as one of the strengths of the team. the addition of Diggs. Along with other talented players like Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs' brother, Dak Prescott, had fans dreaming of a deep playoff run. Now, with Diggs sidelined, do those expectations shift? Do the Cowboys' chances of making a deep postseason run take a hit? Well, it's complicated. The NFL is a league where depth and resilience often determine outcomes. Teams that have multiple playmakers and versatile players tend to weather injuries better. Dallas has those qualities, but the loss of a player like Diggs is always going to be felt. It's a true test of their depth and coaching ingenuity. Looking at their recent seasons, the Cowboys have been on an interesting trajectory. Since their deep playoff run in the 2021 season, they've experienced ups and downs. They've faced injuries, tough losses, and moments of brilliance. Their defense has been consistently solid, especially when Micah Parsons has been in top form. Parsons, who has been a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, will now need to carry even more responsibility to fill the leadership void left by Diggs. In terms of statistics, the Cowboys' defense has been quite formidable this season. They rank among the top in fewest points allowed per game and have a high turnover rate. Their secondary's ability to limit big plays has been a key component of their success. For context, Trevon Diggs' interception total is among the league leaders, and his coverage stats are elite. His absence could lead to an increase in receiving yards allowed and could give opposing quarterbacks a little more confidence in their throws. When we compare the Cowboys to other top-tier defenses across the league, their depth becomes a critical factor. Teams like the San Francisco 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles have shown the ability to sustain injuries and still perform at a high level because of their deep rosters. Dallas's challenge now is to emulate that resilience. Will players like Kelvin Joseph or Nahshon Wright be able to step up? Or will the coaching staff need to get creative with their schemes, perhaps blitzing more or playing more zone coverage to protect their secondary? This situation also puts a spotlight on the upcoming schedule. The game against the Vikings is crucial, not just because of the opponent, but also because it's a litmus test for how well Dallas can adapt. The Vikings have a potent offense, with a quarterback like Kirk Cousins capable of exploiting defensive lapses. Without Diggs, the Cowboys might need to rely more heavily on their front seven, especially Micah Parsons, to generate pressure and disrupt plays. The secondary will need to communicate seamlessly, and other players will have to elevate their game. Fans are naturally anxious. They've seen how injuries can derail a season, but they've also seen their team bounce back from adversity before. The resilience of the Cowboys, especially under McCarthy's leadership, will be put to the test. Will this injury galvanize the team to rally around each other? Or could it expose vulnerabilities that other teams might try to exploit in the playoffs? These are questions that every Cowboys supporter is asking right now, and the answers will only become clearer as the season progresses. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the strategic implications. The Cowboys' defensive scheme has often relied on Trevon Diggs' ability to shut down one side of the field. His presence allows the defense to be more aggressive, knowing they have a reliable cover man. Without him, the team might have to change their approach, perhaps playing more cover 2 or cover 3 schemes to help shield the inexperienced or less experienced players. The coaching staff's tactical adjustments will be critical, and their success could determine whether Dallas maintains their defensive excellence throughout these upcoming games. And what about the mental aspect? Losing a star player can be demoralizing, but it can also serve as a rallying point. The remaining players will need to step up, especially in critical moments. Micah Parsons, who has been a force on the edge, will need to elevate his game even further. The leadership within the locker room will be tested, and how the team responds psychologically could make all the difference in tight scenarios. Looking ahead, the Cowboys' schedule is packed with important games. The matchup with the Vikings is just the beginning. They will face divisional rivals, cross-conference opponents, and teams vying for playoff seeding. Each of these games will carry added significance because of the injury to Diggs. The team's ability to adapt, to overcome, and to continue performing at a high level will be scrutinized. It's also worth considering how this injury might influence the team's long-term plans. Will the coaching staff deploy more rookies or less experienced players in key roles? Will they look to the trade market or activate players from the practice squad? These decisions could shape the rest of their season and even influence their draft strategy if they fall short of expectations. In the broader NFL context, the Cowboys are often viewed as one of the most balanced teams, strong offensively, with a defense that can make game-changing plays. The loss of Diggs slightly tilts that balance, but it also opens up opportunities for other players. Perhaps a young cornerback will seize this chance to prove himself. Maybe a veteran safety like Donovan Wilson will step into a more prominent leadership role. The NFL is a league of opportunities and adaptabilities, and this situation is no different. Now, I want you to think about this. What could happen next? Will the Cowboys' defense tighten up and rally around their injured teammate? Or will opposing offenses try to test their secondary more aggressively? Could this injury be the catalyst that pushes other players to elevate their level of play? And of course, how will this impact their playoff chances? If they can overcome this hurdle, it might just prove that this team has the resilience and depth to go all the way. We've seen teams adapt before. We've seen players step up in moments of crisis. The Patriots, for example, withstood injuries to key players in their Super Bowl winning seasons. The question is, will the Cowboys' squad be able to do the same? Their coaching staff, led by McCarthy and Quinn, has a reputation for tactical flexibility, and this will be their opportunity to showcase that. Will they switch to more zone coverage? Will they blitz more to compensate for the lack of Diggs' coverage skills? These tactical nuances could be the difference between a short playoff run and a deep postseason push. Let's also remember the importance of team chemistry and camaraderie. When a star goes down, it's not just about replacing their skills, but also about maintaining confidence and cohesion on the field. The coaching staff's ability to motivate and instill belief in the team will be crucial in the upcoming weeks. Players like Micah Parsons, who have been leaders on and off the field, will undoubtedly be called upon to rally their teammates and keep the spirit high. Now, shifting focus slightly, what does this mean for the fans? The Cowboys' fan base is known for their passionate support, and moments like these test their loyalty and optimism. Many will be worried, some will be hopeful that others will step up, and others might even question the team's depth. But that's what makes the NFL so compelling. Every injury, every setback is a story of resilience. It's about how teams respond when faced with adversity. And right now, the Cowboys are at a crossroads. So what should fans be watching for? Keep an eye on how the coaching staff adjusts their schemes and which players are given opportunities to shine. Watch how Micah Parsons and the rest of the front seven step up to pressure the quarterback and create turnovers. Pay close attention to how the secondary communicates and whether players like Kelvin Joseph or Nahshon Wright are able to limit big plays against the Vikings. Every snap, every play will reveal a little more about this team's character and their championship potential. And let's not forget, the NFL is unpredictable. Injuries happen all the time, and some teams find ways to thrive amid the chaos. The 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for example, faced injuries and skepticism but ultimately built a championship-winning squad. Could the Cowboys be on that path? Their talent, coaching, and resilience are all there, but this injury is a significant test of their depth and mental toughness. As we wrap up this analysis, I want you to think about the bigger picture. The Dallas Cowboys have always been a franchise built on history, pride, and resilience. They've faced setbacks before, and each time they've come back stronger. This season, with Diggs' injury, might just be another chapter in that storied legacy. It's a moment that could define their resilience, their ability to adapt, and ultimately, their championship aspirations. So stay tuned, because the upcoming games are going to be critical. The response of this team, the adjustments made by the coaching staff, and the performances of those stepping into new roles will all shape the final outcome of their season. Whether they can overcome this obstacle and continue their quest for glory is what makes this story so compelling. Now, before we finish, I want to emphasize again how important it is to follow the latest updates. Injuries like this can evolve. There might be new developments, recovery updates, or even potential trades or signings. Make sure to stay connected with us for all the latest news, insights, and deep dives into what's happening with the Dallas Cowboys. Because in the NFL, every detail counts, and your passion for the team is what makes covering this league so exciting. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on Trevon Diggs' injury? Do you think this will be a temporary setback, or could it have long-term implications for their playoff run? How do you see the team responding? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned and keep the faith. The season is far from over, and this team has the talent and the spirit to bounce back from even the toughest challenges. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. Remember, every injury, every game, every play is a new chapter in the Cowboys' story. Let's see how this team responds, because as fans, we believe in the resilience, the talent, and the fight that makes the Dallas Cowboys one of the most iconic franchises in NFL history. Stay motivated, stay passionate, and keep that Cowboy spirit alive.